The Chicago Bears went 1-4 through their first 5 games, but the last 2 games showed a ton of promise offensively. How do they fare in the next 5 games if they can keep up this level of offensive play? Let's talk about it starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bears daily on this channel. Only channel talking Bears, our Bears fans talk, so make sure that you stay in tune with us, man. So, Bears, of course, through the first 5 games, 3 of the games were very ridiculously underwhelming. But I'm trying to stay positive here, right? It's very hard to do as a Bears fan, but I'm going to stay positive here. Here's the biggest thing for me. As we continue through the next 5 games, the question that I have for you guys, how do you believe the Chicago Bears will fare if they are able to continue the offensive level of competence that we saw over the last 2 games and be able to go out there and kind of do, I guess, what they did a little bit against the Commanders, right? Like, I would think that defensive philosophy would kind of continue. We'll see what that'll end up being. The defense is a massive question, right? Let's start it off with the Vikings game. Looking at that Vikings game, the next 5 games, first of all, Vikings, Raiders, Chargers, Saints, Panthers. Real opportunity here for the Bears to pick up some ground. But starting with this Vikings game, listen. You still got Kirk Cousins in this game, and yes, you will not have Justin Jefferson, who is by far their leader right now, 571 yards on the season. He's got 3 touchdowns, and he has been he's been Justin Jefferson, right? I don't need to hype up Justin Jefferson for you guys, but there are still plenty of weapons in that building. Jordan Addison's been somebody who I think could have gotten the football a lot more than we've seen him get it, and KJ Osborne as well. They've just been guys who have kind of fallen on the back burner behind a guy like Justin Jefferson. So slowing down that offense, I think is still going to be a little bit of an issue for the Chicago Bears because there's still names there that I think you can go out there and have some troubles with. Jordan Addison in his rookie year has balled out. He's been 13.1 yards per reception, basically. He's got 3 touchdowns on the season as well. And he's just, it's felt like early there was a rapport being built up with Kirk, and then Justin started cooking the way that he does, right? But I mean, you still got Addison, you still got a KJ Osborne, you've still got TJ Hockenson. Now almost Kirk Cousins doesn't have to cater and force the ball to Justin Jefferson, which isn't that hard to do because he's Justin Jefferson. I'll keep saying that, right? Elite. But now you almost get to spread the offense around, which has been a problem for the Bears. When there's multiple weapons on the field, right, the Bears have not been able to cover. Defensively, I do think the Bears are still going to have a tough time out there, but here's where it comes down to. Offensively, when you look at what the Bears, if they can continue the offense that we saw them play the last 2 weeks, should be able to do to this defense, I think that there's no shot in the world that they can slow down DJ Moore. And that's kind of the theme of these next few games when you start to look at it, right? Like, I think the Bears, this is a big opportunity for the Bears, especially with them missing their biggest weapon there. Bears have 10 days off. They've had a ton of time to scheme for this. Bears have done pretty well out of the bye. They did very well out of the bye last season, right? Or the mini bye, I should say, last season. I think that could continue coming into this season. Come up with a good game plan. Come out, look to attack these guys early. There's nothing these DBs can do. If you can get the ball first, get the ball first. Like, there's nothing that Minnesota's defense can do to take away DJ Moore. You're still going to have to build up that relationship a little bit more with Darnell Mooney. Not to say there isn't one, but we just haven't seen that happen this season. Haven't really seen him get a ton of targets either, though. 16 targets on the season, 8 receptions. He's bringing them in half 50%, right? He's got 1 tutty on the year. You want to see a little bit more from Darnell, but remember, the first 2 to 3 weeks, you were trying to force feed the ball in there to Chase Claypool, so that does play into it as well. I think this could be a big game for Darnell Mooney because I think they're going to do everything that they can to try to stop DJ Moore, which will make Justin Fields start to look elsewhere. But again, there's not much that these guys can do, especially if the offensive line maintains its protection that we saw on Sunday versus one of the best front fours in football. I know people want to continue to move the goalpost on, where the Bears going up against a defense, a good defense. Oh, they're one of the worst defenses in football. Well, they were a lot worse after the Bears put up 4 touchdowns on them. They weren't one of the worst defenses in football. They were a lot worse once the Bears put up 4 touchdowns on them, and that's still one of the best front fours in football. If we can see that offensive line continue that and maintain health throughout this game, a lot of health issues for the Bears, I could see the Bears coming away with a win in this because I think that the Bears offense will be able to move down the field like butter. Again, this is all based on if we continue to see what we saw the last 2 weeks. Without Justin Jefferson there, you're getting what seems to be Jalen Johnson back. He's talked like he's coming back. You're also getting Eddie Jackson back. That kind of evens out the DB room a little bit more. I feel better about Jalen Johnson going up against Jordan Addison and or KJ Osborne, but I would assume Jordan Addison to me is the leader in that. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, I'm not that worried about Alexander Mattison on the season. He's got 64 carries. He hasn't carried the football extremely well. He's been 4.3 yards per carry. I actually think the Bears can get a handle on Alexander Mattison in this game, and I got the Bears coming out with a dub in this one right now. Now, when I do my predictions and all of that, I probably will pick them to lose because the last time I did that, they won. So I'm trying to keep the trend going, right? Whatever it takes. But I feel good about the Bears in this one, and I think that it's just a matter of getting pressure on Kirk Cousins. This is the one time I need to see Flus continue to do what we saw at the end of that game. Keep the pressure going, man. Let me know how you guys feel. How do you feel that game is going to go? The next game that the Bears have on the docket is going up against the Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are I don't know what the Vegas Raiders are, bro, because they don't run the football well. And for some reason, they really don't want to give the football to Devontae Adams. I don't know if you guys got to see that Packers game, but like, Josh Jacobs has not been good this season. He just re-signed there, right? Like, he's not been good. 2.9 yards per carry on the season. They've kind of had to bring guys in and out. He's got 82 carries this year. He's been bad. 2 touchdowns on the year. I think that their running game has been abysmal. Their offensive line has been an absolute joke. The passing game has been just as bad. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels have built up no rapport on the season. Garoppolo's been somebody who's absolutely, who teams have absolutely been able to get to this season. And I mean, I don't know, man. Like, the Raiders, like, I know they just beat the Packers. I'm not sitting here telling you that the Bears are leaps and bounds better by any means, right? But this is just if they continue to play like they did those last 2 games. I actually think the Bears can, like, run roughshod on the Raiders. And this game is here in Chicago as well. Weather changing a little bit, starting to get a little bit more chilly out there. I don't know what the weather's going to be that day, but this is one where, like, I just don't know what the Raiders are good at. I'll tell you what they are. Max Crosby. That's what they're good at. Max Crosby. Max Crosby is really, really good. He is an elite football player. He is the biggest problem that Chicago Bears have to worry about. He's got 7 QB hits on the season, 5 sacks already. I mean, like, that's your biggest problem that you got to worry about. Like, I'm not worried about anybody else on it. Maybe Marcus Peters a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not worried about anybody else really on that defense. Like, the Bears should be actually able to go out here and get a win versus the Raiders. Now, if they, again, like, I guess the running game that we have could be the one part in question where the Bears may have some issues over these next couple of weeks, but you do get to turn the ball over to Deontay Foreman, who was a 1,000-yard back himself the season prior, which is, it makes life easier for you, right? And hopefully by then, Roschon Johnson will be back. You've got him coming back from that concussion protocol that he's in right now, so we don't know kind of where that's going to end up. I don't even know if he's going to play that week versus the Vikings, but he should be good to go by the time we play the Raiders. Like, I think the Bears should be able to run the football on this team. I think that Justin Fields is good enough to get away from Max Crosby if he needs to use his legs. I also think that, again, this is a DB room that you kind of just look at with question marks and scratch your head. Like, I get it. The Raiders, I guess, right? Like, I'm really trying to create an argument so it doesn't sound like I sound like a massive homer on this. But the Raiders just aren't a good football team. They're 2-3 on the season. I guess they're better than us, right? And you are what your record says you are, but The Bears should be able to go in there and get a win at home versus the Raiders. I mean, this offensive line has allowed 15 sacks on the season. Remember, Aiden O'Connell had to be in there for a little bit. You should be able to attack the quarterback and pin your ears back. Again, a lot of this does go to the fact that the offense, I should say, a lot of this goes towards the offense putting you in a position to be able to do that, right? When you're up, you can pin your ears back and just attack the quarterback. We saw that at the end of the game. That's how the Bears come away with 5 sacks at the end of that game. They have not been able to create pressure with their front four. You have to send more. You have to blitz. I need to see that. So I guess there's that aspect of it. But for me, over the next 2 games, the Bears should be 2-0. Now, game 3, I do still have the Bears losing. I could be convinced that they could win this game. I guess if they came out and showed me something, it would give me a lot of hope and outlook toward the next 2 games that the Chicago Bears have coming up. But realistically speaking, right now, the Chargers have been a very, very up and down team. The Chargers, to me, remind me of the Minnesota Vikings last season, where you went into every game going, who the heck is this team? What team are we going to get here? Right? Justin Herbert's been up and down all season. He's got 9 sacks on the season through 5 games. Not too bad, right? Like, I mean, he's been kind of protected for the most part. He's got a 106 QBR. Like, he's playing okay. It's not what we expected from this team, though, and I think that's the biggest thing right now. Now, when you look at the running game that they've got, again, question marks, right? Joshua Kelly's been their best rusher on the season, and he's been 3.6 yards per carry. I believe that Austin Eckler, you've kind of it's been the Austin Eckler story. Like, nothing's changed with the Austin Eckler story, which is a massive issue. Your biggest question mark on this team is going to be the defense, and this is a defense that absolutely can get after you. Like, there's no doubt about it. Khalil Mack's got 6 sacks on the season. Granted, he got all of it in 1 game, which is ridiculous, right? But I like Neiman, Murray Jr. Those are some guys that have been able to pressure the quarterback, get in the backfield. They've been the guys that have kind of put up the QB hits. Sebastian Joseph Day as well. These have been the guys that have been able to get after the quarterback. This has been a team that, of course, is going to be able to get after the quarterback. Joey Bosa, I do not believe, let me see here. He does have 1 sack on the season. Let's hope that that's not the day that he decides to get hot and come out and dominate you, right? Like, we know what the Bosa boys can do. We're not surprised by it. We're not confused by it. We're not, like, we know what the Bosa boys are. And that is a serious problem to talk about, especially when you're pairing him up with a guy in Khalil Mack, when you're pairing him up and with this defensive line, and this is Chargers defense that at moments can get after you. But again, you went up against a really tough front four with the Washington Commanders, probably one of the most expensive, to me, one of the best front fours in the NFL, and the Bears offensive line handled that pretty well. I am still going to put this one down as a loss, though, because I think that they're a much better team. Their defense can get after you. On the flip side of that, Sam Howell couldn't do anything in the first half. Justin Herbert will carve us up. Right? Like, you're not going to be able to pin your ears back and just get after Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's a guy who will be able to go out there and carve us up. So you got to find a way to slow him down. Maybe by then the Bears defense is starting to look a little bit more aggressive and have some more teeth to this defense. But I think without that 3 technique that you feel is in place, there's always going to be that little bit of concern. Now, to that point, though, right, Javon Dexter has gotten better every single week. Zach Pickens slowly getting better every single week. You're starting to see them create more pressures, get into the backfield a little bit more, find their way. Like, Javon Dexter kind of starting to settle into a penetrating style defense versus a 2-gap style defense. You're starting to see that on the tape. He's getting quicker off of the snap. He's getting into the backfield a lot quicker. He's winning his one-on-ones a little bit more. I think we're going to have to come to a point where we're going to have the conversation on Javon Dexter starting over Justin Jones. I don't know if we're at that point in this season. I think he would have to take a massive leap over the next couple of games for us to get there. But there is coming that point where we're starting to see him, settle into the defense. Now he's starting to feel more comfortable. Need to start seeing him get home, right? Haven't really seen him get home this season. I don't believe that he has a sack on the season unless he got one in the last game. He did not. But again, just starting to see them get a little bit more pressure, get into the backfield, starting to pressure the quarterback. This is the things that you hope to see from these young guys. And it's taken a little bit longer, right? Like, he didn't come out and give you the Jalen Carter effect where immediately he's dominating the game. But, it's a little bit of a slow burn, but it seems like it's burning in the right direction. So let's keep that thing going. Is that wild? Is that wild to say burning in the right direction? It feels wrong. I'm not going to pause it, but it feels wrong. Y'all know what I'm saying. After that, you got the Saints. Saints is kind of like the Chargers to me. Like, I don't really know what the Saints are. I do believe that the Bears should be able to go in there and beat up on Derek Carr. But Derek Carr's taken a lot of hits on the season. I believe Derek Carr's been sacked 15 times. Now, granted, again, this all comes down to pressure that the Bears are going to be able to create. Can you blitz? If you blitz Derek Carr, we know one thing about Derek Carr. He can beat the blitz. He can attack the blitz, right? If there's open guys in coverage and he starts to see that, he is a smart quarterback. I don't believe that he's this elite quarterback that y'all know P. Kid would make him out to be, right? He can make every throw just like Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't know about all that. But listen, you've had Michael Thomas out there, Chris Olave out there, Alvin Kamara out there. He's got options. Rashid Shaheed has been the sneaky option for me that he's been able to find, and he's been able to get to him a few times this season, targeting him 21 times on the season already. So Rashid Shaheed has been somebody who I really thought that who I didn't expect, and he's on my fantasy team too, shout out to him, who I didn't expect to kind of make a name for himself coming into this season, but I really like what we've seen from him. This is a team that, listen, they're going to be able to pressure the quarterback a little bit. They've been able to get in the backfield. Can this offensive line hold up? It's the same conversation here, right? Like, we're having the same conversation for all of these teams, but there's another one where it just depends on which Derek Carr you get that day. It's been the season of 2 Derek Carrs, which seems like it's been the career of 2 Derek Carrs. He's got all the weaponry in the world. We already know what what Alvin Kamara can do when he's running the football. There's the Saints. There's weaponry everywhere. What can the quarterback do? Right? Like, that's really what it comes down to. There is absolutely weaponry all over the place on this team, but what can the quarterback do? And Derek Carr is a guy who has beaten the Bears, but I wouldn't say he's killed the Bears. I don't think Derek Carr has ever killed the Bears. But versus this defense, if you allow him to stand back there and have time, he will kill the Bears. This is a game that I do believe I still have the Bears probably. This is a tough one. I feel like the Bears can get this win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they drop this one. That's kind of where I'm at. But I think I'm gonna go win on this, which is crazy because that means I have the Bears basically going 4-1 because I think the Panthers are an abysmal team. I'm not even going to give you the numbers on the Panthers to break down. They're an abysmal team with a abysmal head coach who has no idea how to get things back on track and all of that, right? But Frank Wright is a joke. I mean, right now, like he's got no answers. He doesn't know how to put this team together. He can't figure out how to protect his smaller quarterback, his young quarterback. Right, so I'm not worried about that. But I have that down as a win to me. Even if the Bears are abysmal through all of this, I still have the Panthers game down as a win. But I think you have a real shot to go on a run here. I'm gonna say the Bears can beat the Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost that one, though. At worst, I think the Bears go 3-2 over their next 5 games, which would put you at 4-6 on the season. At best, I think that the Bears can go 4-1, which puts you at 5-5 on the season and changes your complete outlook, puts you back in a good situation. You get a divisional win in that matchup as well, and I think that's where the things get tough for this team after that. Let's see if they can go out there and put it all together. Let me know you guys' record prediction in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Bears content. Click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. Let's go get some dubs. Peace.